Hello, I'm Richard from MTCS, and today I'd like to talk to you about competence, and I'd like to use an analogy that I often use to actually understand a little bit more about whether we are competent or whether perhaps we're not competent. And I hope you find it an interesting analogy, and I'd like you to think back to when you learnt to drive. So you probably went to a driving school and had a number of lessons. You may have gone out with members of your family, which could have been quite fraught, no doubt. And then at a particular point in time, you took your driving test and you passed. Wow, how did you feel? Excellent, you passed your driving test. So my question now is, firstly, were you competent on that day? And secondly, I'm going to present to you now another question that imagine on the day you passed your driving test, if somebody came up to you and said, okay, congratulations, I'd like you now to drive about, say, 200 miles down to a large city in the country that you live in, London, for example, if you're in the UK, and I want you to go to a particular address, and on that journey you're not going to have any sat-nav, or certainly when I pass my driving test I'm not going to have a road atlas, and I want you to arrive there just around about rush hour time. On the day you passed your driving test, how would you have felt on that particular moment? You'd have panicked. You would not have liked to have been in that situation. You'd have wanted to plan it. You'd have needed about 2 weeks to plan that journey. If we asked you the same question today, you'd probably say, yeah, okay, I'll do it, no problem. I'll use my sat-nav, or I will get an atlas. I will find my way around the city, and probably how much are you going to pay me to do this? And why is that? Because, as I said, the first question was, when you passed your driving test, were you competent? The driving examiner said you were. And what have you got now that you didn't have then? And what is it now that would make you confident that you could make that journey? Well, that's experience. So when we passed a driving test, although the examiner said we were competent, we weren't, because we didn't have experience. And as we said, competence could be defined as having knowledge, skills and experience. So what we actually say is that when you passed your driving test, you were what we say consciously competent. You were aware of what you didn't know. You were nervous. Today, you've got experience many years later, and you are actually what we call unconsciously competent. And that comes with its own pitfalls, because today you're complacent. Today you will have accidents because you have bad habits that you picked up over those years. And this analogy between driving a car, I think, is really important, because it actually helps us understand more how do we take that person who has perhaps graduated, or they've passed an exam or a test of some sort, and how do we turn them from that point of when they feel very uncomfortable to when they are experienced and competent and perhaps complacent, and how do we manage that transition, and how do we deal with that person who is competent and perhaps complacent in their role. I hope you've enjoyed that video, and if you do have any further questions, please feel free to contact us via our website or email us direct at MTCS. Thank you.